Folks, we are live. Welcome to Talking Crit, a very special, very stupid,
Very special, very special, very stupid. I like it.
very special,
Yes.
very stupid. By the way, I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With me, as always, is my other spouse, my once a week work
hmm
spouse, Bade Mike Badalato.
Thanks, Eric. And I heard Rachel's voice in the background earlier. I just wanted to tell her that I'm so glad everything turned out okay. My mom is actually having pretty much exactly what she's having in about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
My mom's a veteran of breast cancer. She's had about 5 operations. They always catch it early. They're so good now. They catch it early, right, Rachel? And that's the good part is they're able to catch them so early now that they just take it out. And the days of really horrible double mastectomies and stuff, those are pretty much gone as long as you catch it early. And so I'm glad you did all right, Rach.
Thank you.
Oh, we got a smart ass, Bob G, 804. We're starting early.
Here we are. We don't have the usual. There's no guest tonight, so it's just me. We don't have to. It's always the guest's fault. It's never our fault. It's always the guest.
That's yes.
Thank you very much for the dice and the D6. Got it this week. We took a nice vacation around the country.
So Bob Goodnow, he gave Rach a set of dice at ShireCon. And these are very easy to read, but like they're rubberized dice. So
nice.
But they're quiet. Like you roll them, they make no noise, but they bounce. But he didn't have the D6 with him. He couldn't find it at the time. So he mailed it to us. But it went to us via like Salt Lake City.
Oh dear. One of those,
It was going from Massachusetts to New York City by going all the way out west. It made a trip through Dallas. I guess it was going to try to go to the it's like the wrong time for the convention that I'm sorry.
I wanted to go to the rain. Wanted to hit. Maybe they wanted to see a Ranger game before they went to the ALCS. So I
don't know.
The dice demanded to go to DFW
but it did show up, man. Yes, Rachel is happy. Her world traveling D6 finally arrived.
Nice. Well, yeah, Bob's a good dude. We see Bob at the con over here. Hello, Jen. Hello, Tammy.
Oh, hold on. Rach, your face is being demanded. Oh. Tammy's like, I want to see her face.
It's not looking very good, but that's okay.
Oh, dude. She's probably tired.
Yeah.
You don't have to parade Rachel around.
You can see where they marked me, but they tried to clean it off. It's an indelible marker.
Yeah. So the doctor's like, so which breast am I operating on?
Oh dear, yeah, you always got to get that right. Oh my!
I'm like, it's lefty.
And then she goes, hold on a second.
Let me get my pen.
And she puts her initials on it. So
they're so careful with that now because they have had cases where they cut off the wrong arm or leg or stuff like that. So they are very careful. I know when I've been I've been in the hospital before for stuff like that. They will mark it. They circle it with a marker and X. And if you get 5 doctors that all come in and ask you about it, and they all ask you where it's at. And so, it's.
Please say your name.
They want to be very careful.
Yeah.
I own a mansion and a yacht.
Yep.
So yes, she exists.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
She's got Tylenol with codeine and probably won't be using any of it.
Oh, could you save me some of that or mail it to me? I would like some of
it so that it's currency for in case
the world goes to shit.
I mean, it's not just prison currency; it's real life currency.
Yeah.
Okay?
But yeah, so
good to see. Well, that was a good thing that happened this week. Eric and I are going to talk about. So I got mixed up. I thought we had Alex Macris tonight. It's not for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm sorry, Eric. I got that totally mixed up. So
no, it's okay.
But there's so many things going on, and there was so much stupid this week that it was just like stupid after stupid after stupid. So Eric and I are easy. If you give us stupid, we'll take stupid, and we will double down and triple down on it, and talk about it all day long. Because. If you're doing something really dumb, we're just gonna hammer it. We're gonna keep hammering it because we're not very polite. We don't politely believe in just letting you make a fool of yourself. We're gonna we're gonna very loudly call you on making a fool of yourself. So we have a few stories today involving Ernie Gygax, involving Satine Phoenix,
and the Ernie
Watsy.
Story isn't stupid. We're gonna start the Ernie stuff.
No, I'm sorry. No, Ernie's is very tragic, very, very sad, and the stupid part is the people who have tried to make money off him and used him and been miserable human beings doing so. But no, the Ernie part is not stupid, so to speak. It's just very tragic. So for those that don't know, Eric's going to probably give us some more details. I think he knows more than I do. But Ernie's not doing well. He's in palliative care, I believe. Yeah. And for those who know Ernie's story, he lived a tough life in terms of not taking care of his body, and he's very open about this. I am not sharing stories out of school at all. He has posted this very open about lots of drinking, lots of drug use since the age of like 14 or 15. I think his dad handed him beer when he was like 13 or 14.
Which happens in alcoholic families.
Yeah, and said, "Hey, have a drink." And so he started drinking early, and then he lived in a little city like Geneva, and this company's making millions of dollars. Ernie benefited greatly. I mean, there's pictures of him in the 80s. He looks awesome. He's got like the gold chains and the flowing hair. He looks like he's having a great time. And apparently he was. And like I said, he's very open about this. This is not sharing stories, but he was a party guy, and he would drink a lot and did a lot of drugs and really just didn't do a whole lot with himself for probably about 20 years. He just partied and had a good time and lived off the Gygax name. And then when Eric and I would first see him at conventions about 10, 15 years ago, he looked awful. He was riding in a little cart. Face was red with what's that stuff that you get when you're drinking and your blood capillaries are breaking? Rosacea, whatever. And just looked awful. I mean, literally to the point where people who I won't name would whisper, "Yeah, Ernie's got a couple years to live, maybe." I mean, he's going to die, and that's how bad he was. And so, the happy part of the story was he apparently the family had an intervention, Luke and the sisters and his other brother Alex, and he went dry. He went cold turkey, went sober.
Yeah,
and he looked pretty good, and he got off the cart and was going to conventions and doing the Ernie thing. And then, unfortunately, the last couple years, he got mixed up with some lousy human beings and who used him. And I was telling Eric earlier, they basically chumped him. That he was a chump. That they saw him coming. They used him. They used him to get money. They called him Gary Gygax Jr., a name that he never uses, by the way. He tells you to call him Ernie. He does not like the name Gary Gygax Jr. But to promote their games, they called him Gary Gygax Jr., Deinhardt, and the other moron. And they basically had him as the front man to legitimize their crappy businesses and their crappy games. I mean, Wonderfield, in my opinion, is terrible. And I think Eric's opinion is not. That's not a very good game, okay? There's a reason that
Heartland is personally
nobody's playing any conventions because it's terrible. It's a terrible game. And so apologies to Jim Ward, but I don't know how much Jim Ward had to do with the final part of that, but it's just not a very good game. We tried to play it one night and it was ludicrous. It was like playing Paranoia except without all the yucks and the laughs, because Paranoia is a fun game that's wacky. This was not a fun game. So they used Ernie for years, and they basically made him the front man and said, "Look, we're legitimate because we have the company TSR, and we've got Ernie Gygax, or we got Gary Gygax Jr. on our side." And of course, they've abandoned Ernie now because he can't do anything for him. It's like, if you're a football player and you're a really good running back, but you slap your girlfriend around every once in a while. Maybe you drive too fast, get some tickets. You might get drunk in a strip joint and shoot the place up. Well, the team's always bailing you out, right? They're going to bail you out because you're a 1,000-yard rusher. They're going to pay your bail. They're going to pay for your rehab. They're going to pay this and that. But the minute you're not even used to them, like you tear your ACL and you're out for a year, then you're out. Then they're like, whatever. We don't care anymore. Yeah. You can't do anything for us anymore. So in their opinion, I have the feeling that Deinhardt and his his cronies feel that Ernie can't do anything for him anymore, and they just don't care. And that's, they haven't really talked about Ernie. They've barely mentioned him, barely talked about him, haven't tried to raise any money for him. I think Deinhardt. Okay, so tell me what a great gesture this is, Eric. I don't know if you heard this or not.
No.
Deinhardt on the Wonderful page said they're selling all the remaining copies of John. What's the name called? Giant Land. What?
Giant Land.
Giant Lands. They're selling all the remaining copies at a discount. Shocked face. And they're going to split the proceeds between Jim Ward and Ernie. So what? $20? I mean,
proceeds as in profit beyond cost. Because I don't.
How much money are they going to get for discounted Giant Lands? I mean,
I overpaid for my copy.
So that's a great gesture. That's a great gesture, man. Thank you for throwing a few peanuts at Ernie by doing discounted crappy games and then giving him half the amount. By the way, so yeah, that's and the other person that we're not even going to talk about. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't mentioned him, said a word. Well, he's laying low now. He's got some. Boy, we can't. I wish we could talk about it. We can't talk about it. But boy, things aren't going well in North Carolina. Let's just say things are not going well.
If you want, folks, if you want to follow along on a story that we can't talk about, Tabletop Tap Room, his channel does a very good job.
Go watch Tom's channel.
But
heck, N-World still updates. N-World has an ongoing thread about this dude. That I think it's up to page 800 or something. Just go there and just look at the latest posts, because they keep up on this totally. So if you want information about this individual, just go to the N-World thread. It's still there, and it's being updated every day. Every day they've got something funny about this guy. Anyway, so yeah, they're getting so Ernie's getting stiffed here, and so Dave Conant, to his credit, has put up a GoFundMe for Ernie, and unfortunately, it's only made about $100 there. It just showed me
in $100 in 6 hours. Their goal is 40,000. Now, we're gonna. There was some information in here that the general public has not had access to about Ernie's health.
Yeah,
so we're actually gonna read this.
Okay.
Ernie, the barbarian Gygax, has been in many D&D battles in his life, being the eldest son of the co-creator of the D&D game. And as Mike said, Ernie will be the first one to talk about his misspent youth and probably early middle age. Now he's in a fight for his very life. In fact, he's been in and out of the hospitals and in and out of critical condition over the last few months. If you've been following this, his summer has been a summer from hell and now a fall from hell. Whatever. He even died for several minutes this past week. I did not know. That was not public. But he was able to be revived. I won't go into many details, but he has a heart defect that results in not enough blood being pumped through his body. That's generally congestive heart failure. And more importantly, not delivered to vital organs like the kidney. That means, in addition to heart issues, he's been also needing dialysis to help the kidney to do its job. They didn't say that publicly, but you could read into that when you were hearing that his kidneys were failing.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, you got dialysis in the mix. Like any barbarian, though, he keeps fighting. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
I was going to say, just read between the lines here. Anytime your kidneys or liver failing, that's really bad. Yeah, really bad. Because you can only keep certain organs alive for a while. Like dialysis is useful if your kidneys are really crappy. You know, they're barely functioning, or maybe you only have one kidney that's not doing well. If your kidneys fail, you can't. You're in bad shape. You're bad shape. And it sounds to me like they're talking about how basically he's looking at organ failure at some point here.
Right. So Ernie was talking in one of his updates about how they're putting him on the list for a heart transplant and a kidney transplant.
He's not a good candidate either.
Not a good candidate.
That sucks, because I mean he could still get something, but he's just not a good candidate. He's older than me, and he has a very damaged body, and and I know this sounds terrible, but it's the look, they try to. It's like, your ship's going down, and that's why you have women and children first, right? Because you're like, okay, well, the children of the future. I mean, look, I've already made a mess of my life. I'm going to go down with the Titanic, but the kid might be a famous surgeon, and the women, they might have more kids who might turn out to be famous surgeons. I'm not anything important. So when they look at donors, when they look at people to be saved, they look at younger people and more healthy people, because they don't want to transplant an organ and then have you fail anyway in 2-3 months. That's
Right.
That's a waste of their time, a waste of the person who died and donated those organs. That they want you to go to a healthy person, and very sadly, Ernie is not a very healthy person. He's just not a good candidate.
No,
not to say he would not get something, but it doesn't look good. I'm sorry. So go ahead.
No. That's spot on. So the initial reason for this fundraiser campaign was to help Ernie and Donna with the medical bills that are already mounting, and to help cover some of the hotel expenses for Donna, Ernie's significant other, soulmate in healthcare, POA, while she stays by Ernie's side every day at the hospital, helping him through this and making some very difficult medical decisions along the way. Going forward with the time he has left. Now, this is
very important. Yes,
this is what it comes down to. Going forward with the time he has left, even accounting for the best possible situation, Ernie will need to follow strict guidelines, and Ernie will be the first person probably to say strict guidelines are not his forte, and be severely limited in his activities. But he hopes that he and Donna can once again offer a place at their home in Lake Geneva for gamers to stop by and roll some dice. And then he goes through the cost of an air ambulance, life flight, used twice.
Expensive. Those are expensive. God.
$12K to $25K. Average ambulance transport in Wisconsin, used twice, $1,200. Average for 1 day in ICU care, more than 10 weeks in 4 different hospitals, 8 to 10. Average for 1 day of regular hospital care for heart issue patients, $4,000, used for about 3 weeks. And then he says most insurance plans only pay up to 80% of those costs. They pay them at all. At Ernie's age and with Ernie's background, he is likely on Medicaid or Medicare. And if he's on Medicare, he should have gotten. He should have gotten a rider, paid a little extra in the pocket. But it's the gap insurance, and I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not giving healthcare advice. But if you are someone who's on Medicare, speak to a healthcare advisor, because it's right. Medicare pays 80%, and that other 20% can be a killer. You got to look into a Medigap plan if you're in that situation. This tells me that did not happen. So, Ernie is fighting for his life today. Tomorrow, they'll both be fighting to dig out from the pile of bills, even with insurance picking up a good portion of the tab. He has used all of those expensive services multiple times during a struggle over the last few months, plus many doctor visits. 4 months before that, he began feeling the effects of his body weakening. Between the various ambulance services, hospitals, numerous doctors, procedures, medications, and services provided, they'll be getting bills for many months. Please lend your aid. I mean, folks, this is usually where the gaming community comes together. All right, we've done it for others that are less known, that people don't know the names of. Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you how to use your money, but I will say, even if Ernie might not be your favorite charity, he has a woman standing by his side who's going to be inheriting.
This isn't about Ernie. This is about Donna, because I'm reading in between the lines here, Eric, and I think you and I both realize the same thing. He's in the last stages of this, and he's probably not going to survive. And so I'm just reading between the lines, just the way it was worded. They're not saying, oh, he's going to be able to go home and do everything great. It's always about, well, he hopes he can do this, and he might be able to do this, and he's probably not going to be able to do it. It doesn't sound very good. So this is more about Donna not getting stuck with with a crap load of bills, which she's going to. I mean, so the family's going to get stuck with these bills. I just think it's funny because there's one donation there. I have a feeling that's our buddy Alyssa. I think that's her real name there, and so that's the only money he's gotten, which is really sad. But look, Ernie made a mess of things the last few years, and I'm on record as saying the last few weeks I hope he recovers because I think he's due for a redemption arc, which I don't think is going to happen now because he bought into the garbage of these guys, and he just wanted to be so much. Did he want just to sit there in the dungeon hobby shop and run games? He wanted it so bad that he was willing to compromise himself. And and he attacked his brother at his brother's convention, and and he alienated. God, Eric, he alienated a ton of fans, including you and me, in the last few years by things he said, interviews, and just the fact is, look, you don't have to support somebody, but there's certain things you can't walk a line on that you have to come down one side or the other. And I think family is one of those things. If somebody starts insulting your family and telling your family's garbage, I don't think you could just say, well, that's between my brother and this guy that I happen to be friends with. And I think he lost a lot of respect of his fans when he basically just kind of backed away from that and said, oh, I'm not going to, because somebody was attacking his brother and attacking Gary Kahn in very vile terms, vile terms. And he just kind of like, I'm just not going to be part of this because he was so scared of losing his place at the Dungeon Hobby Shop table.
Yeah.
He didn't want that to happen. That was the one thing he wanted. Look, that was his probably favorite memories when he was younger, was running games in the basement of the Dungeon Hobby Shop, running his dungeon, having people come in, oh my gosh, the son of Gary Gygax, this is so awesome. He's running us. I mean, it'd be probably every week. That would be so fun. That does sound fun. And he was willing to do anything to relive those days. And, and unfortunately that meant teaming up with a reprehensible human being to do that. So, and being used by he was used by a lot of people. Okay. He was used because of his name. His name look, I talked to friends, and Erica, I've talked about this before, who bought Giant Lands because they didn't know any better. They just saw the Ernie. Oh, Gary Gygax Jr. worked on it. Mike, did you know that? I'm like, yeah, that's Ernie. Who's Ernie? Ernie Gygax, Gary's older son. Oh, we saw Gary Gygax Jr. We just thought blah blah blah. That was meant to confuse people, and it did. It was absolutely meant to confuse people.
All right. So,
by the way, did you see the prices that Bob showed about the game earlier?
Yes, I did. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow, I'm glad he's discounting them so much so people will pick those up and help out Ernie and Jim. Yeah, he's really discounting those, isn't he?
Yeah. All right. Hold on.
Yep. It's too bad. Anyway, so it's a sad story. It's probably not going to have a happy ending.
No.
Unfortunately, not going to have a redemption arc. I think Ernie really spoiled his legacy and his reputation the last year. It just sucks because I've met him before. I've talked to him. He's an okay dude. He's not my style of guy really, because I'm on record as I like the old guys that don't take themselves very seriously. I mean, right. I love the guys like Zeb Cook and Alan Hammock who are just absolute effing geniuses in their field, and they just like, I worked at a game company for a few years. It was cool. Then I went on and did other, I mean, if you just look at the body of work of those guys and just what they did, then they don't take themselves super seriously. They just think, oh, that's so cool. I'm glad you guys remember me. That's the kind of guy I like from those days. I do not like the guy that says, I demand respect because my name is blank, and so I did this, and I demand you respect me. And there's a couple of guys in the hobby like that just,
Yeah, no. So, folks, listen, we're bringing this up. We're showing it. I put the link in the chat. I myself have congestive heart failure. It's not active. I do what I can to stay healthy, see all my doctors, do what I got to do, eat healthy, take my meds. All right. And we know the history that is there. So when we, and again, I'm not telling you all what to do, but I understand what he's going through.
Yeah,
I understand. So I just donated $150 because I'm not going to talk the talk without walking the walk. I always give to these GoFundMe's. I'll probably figure out something on the blog site over the next couple of days to do a match at a certain point for people within the community that are part of the tavern. But I only found out.
And like we said, if you don't like what Ernie did and don't like the things he said and don't feel like this is something you deal with, this is not necessarily for Ernie. This is for Donna, and this is for this about because she's the one that's going to be left to have the. And look, Eric and I have known people over the last few years that they pass away, and their significant others are the ones that have to pick up all the pieces, and it is a tough job. It is a lot of work, and and that's really who this money helps. It helps the person left behind. So,
so I mean, as a community, we have to be a little bit higher than personal differences. That's generally my opinion. And remember that at some point, that may be you or I hoping that the community comes together and does something for us and puts money aside for us. I try to give to people in our community that are in need, especially for health reasons. I might not even know their name. Might not. Maybe it's a name I've occasionally seen on Facebook commenting. But I come from a culture as a cop where if somebody was in need financially because of medical bills, because of their kid, their wife, themselves, everybody dug into their pockets and put in and didn't. Nobody said, "What's in it for me?" Or, "Oh, this guy's an asshole. I got into a fist fight with him 2 weeks ago over bullshit." Didn't make a difference. You still reach into your pocket and put $20 or $50 into the pot because those differences don't mean a lot when it comes to somebody's life. So that's just my perspective on it. So, and yes, Tom, he does that yearly convention for God, I wish I could remember the kid's name. I don't even know if he's a kid anymore. Oh, God, I really can't remember his name. Mike, do you remember this kid's name? I've seen Ernie run these. You're muted, Mike. You are muted, sir.
Sorry about that. I must have hit that button. Yeah, I was to say that he's not a kid anymore. He's a disabled guy at this point, but he is. He does something for him every year. And so
yeah, I mean
that's really nice.
Even people that you may have issues with or personally dislike generally have some traits that are by far redeemable. And I personally don't think Ernie is a bad person. I just think Ernie has lived his whole life living in the here and now, and he's never really had to think about decisions that affected his future. And now the here and now is here and now, sadly. So
I'm leaving this. If anybody wants to check on Baltimore, here's the full and glorious history of New TSR. That it's a gigantic thread in the community section of NWorld. It's up to 437 pages, and they keep up with him really well. And so, if you want to know, we can't say stuff, but they can say whatever they like, and it's good stuff. So,
yeah. Also, here is a link to Tom's video channel. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Look, I normally, I'm not going to bag on Ernie at this point. I don't agree with a lot of stuff he did, and I wouldn't say we're friends even, and I don't particularly respect him the last couple of years, but I'm
yeah.
But yes, he, like I said, this isn't even about him. This is about his family. It's about Luke. It's about his sisters. It's about Alex. It's about Donna. It's about people he's going to leave behind. It's about his mother. I mean, his mother's still living. It's about helping out people who are left behind. Let's just put it that way. So
yeah, I mean, Alan made a statement earlier that I have Rachel to kick my ass and keep me in line. I'll be honest with you. I've already thought about this to myself. If I didn't have Rachel in my life, if I didn't have the person that completes me, would I have been, I don't know, able, focused enough, strong enough to make the decisions I had to make sure I didn't step off that precipice in 2020 when everything was going to shit. And it's a lot easier to say, fuck it, let it happen, as opposed to, I need to lose weight, I need to get into shape, I need to clear out my pantry and change totally the foods that I eat and everything. And, you have to make that decision. And sometimes it's a much easier decision to make when you have someone in your life that is more important than yourself. And that's how I feel about Rach. And I would assume at this point, Ernie feels that way about Donna. And that is, it's sad when that revelation happens when you've already built up a lot of damage to your body, literally, from the crap before that. So,
well, it's a and look, we're all, Eric and I both had wake up calls the last few years, health wise. We both had close friends pass away in the last few years. Look, we're not our hobby has not chosen the Adonises of the world to be. Look, there's a few of us. I mean, look,
even the Adonises, even Skeeter, right?
Skeeter had Skeeter's, he's held together by paper mache and rubber bands, but look at a dude like Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is the guy's ripped. He's an ex-military firefighter. I mean, but anybody can get sick. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, those guys are far and few between. Most of them are like Eric and I. We're, big, fat, pasty, chubby white guys that don't really, probably didn't do the last few years, have not got out and played a lot of pickleball or whatever, or soccer or whatever. And so it's a wake up call to everybody, to how you treat yourself and how you treat your body. And look, it's never too late. Eric and I, we also. Okay, I'll give you another example. I mean, not just Eric. Eric's a good example here, but my brother Robert, who, if you go to the convention, you know him. He runs the chariot racing. He runs the gladiator games. He also wears a Speedo at the midnight auction, but we won't talk about that. A few years ago, he was walking around the neighborhood and he had a heart attack. And he just hurt, pain. Couldn't even make it home. Stopped at a neighbor's house, knocked on the door, said, can you drive me to the hospital? Something's wrong. I can't breathe. Something's wrong. And if you saw the guy, you would. I mean, he's weighs less than I do. He looks okay. We've seen him in a Speedo, Eric. He looks okay.
Yeah,
right? Well, he's not
overweight or anything. When you say he looks okay,
we're just saying that
not about the Speedo, right? We're not talking about
the Speedo.
No, okay.
There's nothing okay about that at all. Nothing okay about that. Went in. He was like 98% blocked in one vein, like 80% in the other one. They put stents in. He turned it around, stopped drinking, stopped smoking. When we play D&D, we're all sitting there going, what pizza we're going to have? He pulls out his vegetables and freeka and couscous and whatever in the fridge. We're like, oh, that's gross. And he's eating this. Oh, it's delicious, man. I love my salads. They're great. It's like fruit in there and stuff. We're like, you're crazy. But you know what? He's in perfect. He's really doing really good now. It's been 3 years now, and he's doing great. He's doing absolutely great. He turned it around. So you can still turn it around, guys. You can absolutely still turn it around. It is not too late. It's never too late.
Listen. For some people, it's genetics, right? That predisposes you one way or the other. But for me, it was after effects of 9/11. I had Hodgkin's about, 16, 17 years ago. And part of that treatment was chemo, which can damage the heart, and radiation, which certainly damaged the heart, because when they went in and looked at my heart, they asked me how many heart attacks I had. I went, I don't think I had any. And then
you didn't know you were having them, because sometimes you don't, right? You just don't know.
Right. I said, I don't think I had any. And they're like, okay. So you said you worked 9/11, right? I'm like, yeah. And I had Hodgkin's, and I had chemo for the chest and the. Oh, now it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because the radiation takes time to do this effect on you. So, the human body is very resilient.
Yes.
The heart is a very resilient muscle. Apparently, a lot of my blockages self-fixed because the heart just found ways around the blockages. I have a totally totally occluded. I have a blocked carotid. So one of my 4 feeders in my neck, one of them is totally blocked. And that's again from radiation. And it means I got to eat a very low cholesterol diet and watch my cholesterol.
Yeah, you've been great about you and Rachel have the health show, which has some awesome tips. I watch it once in a while. Of course, you make me feel guilty every time I watch it because I'm like, I don't do any of that stuff. I feel terrible. But a lot of it's about choices, choices you make. And you can make bad choices if you make good choices too, right? I mean, you just can't make all bad choices. You have to say, okay, I'm making a bad choice here, but I'm going to make a I'll give you an example. I eat a lot more desserts now. I used to never eat dessert, ever eat dessert. I felt guilty about eating it, but since I've been on Ozempic and doing stuff and I've lost weight, I'll have a dessert every once in a while because first of all, I don't eat. Food doesn't taste like anything. I can't really. COVID messed me up. My smell is still kind of messed up. My taste is messed up. I don't taste anything. But I can taste really spicy or really sweet things. So every once in a while, I'll have dessert. I used to never have dessert. That's my reward for, good behavior. If I'm good behavior, I'll have a dessert. Because do a little good. You can do a little bad, but just do a little good too to help you out there.
Right. Listen, it isn't necessarily about always making good choices. I think it's always making a better choice. Okay. It's like, well, gee. In my case, it's like I'll go out with Rachel to dinner. It's like, oh my god, they got cheesecake on the menu. I love cheesecake, and I'm like,
New York cheesecake.
New York cheesecake with like that little dollop of cherry jam.
Yeah.
So I am like, it's always like, but now before, I would have been like, yeah, slice for me and whatever the missus wants. Now it's like, can we get 1 slice and can we get like 2 forks, please?
Absolutely. My wife and I do that all the time now. I can't tell you how many meals we shared in the last year because we're both, looking at our health and saying, do we really need a giant meal? And we'll share it, and that's a way to get around the fact that I don't want to order a piece of cheesecake, but we'll order a piece and we'll eat it. And guess what? When we're full, we'll just stop eating it. So we'll leave it, we'll leave some behind. You don't feel like I got to eat it all. I got to finish the whole thing myself. No, you're sharing it with somebody else. And when you've each had 2 bites, okay, that was great. I thought it tasted delicious. That was awesome. So by the way, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to turn this into Gamer's Health, but it did become Gamer's Health.
Special Gamer's Health.
Yeah, very special episode. This is supposed to be a very special episode of really stupid things, which that was not. That was a heartfelt thing to. Oh gosh, chocolate covered jalapenos. Okay, yeah. I've seen things that I'm kind of like Roy Batty at the end of Blade Runner. I've seen things. So they will put jalapenos in anything. Now I've seen olives. No, jalapeno stuffed olives, which are actually pretty good, Eric. They're actually not bad.
I don't like olives. So okay.
But I have seen the chocolate covered jalapeno stuff, and that's because the big thing now is sweet and spicy together. Or sweet and hot together. No. That's the big fusion now. No, but that's not for me. No. I don't want my no.
Okay, so going back to today is David Thompson's 1-year anniversary of his heart attack. Thank you, David, for still being with us.
Glad you're still here, buddy. Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Now you
need to wait an hour for ambulances, but it's because you're in the free health care
not
world.
Reading it right, Mike. It's an ambulance. It's an ambulance.
Oh, an ambulance. So I thought it was an ambulance.
No. Okay. So when I was in the academy, we had one of our instructors. He came from transit, and he was a stand-up comedian as a side gig. So he always had to have all the great stories, right? And he's hey, I was a rookie in transit at the Times Square station, and somebody comes running up to me and goes to me, Asifa, my friend's having a epileptic flip. He's like, what? A epileptic flip. So he's like, oh, an epileptic flip. Fit. All right. Gets on the radio, and we refer to the NYPD. We refer to ambulances as buses.
Right.
I think it has to do with people use it to go to the hospital for a common cold, but in any case. So, Sancho, I need a bus at this location. No, awesome. He doesn't need a bus. He needs an ambulance. So,
oh God!
Thank you, David.
Amberlands, yes.
Thank you for making me think of that story. Bob, sugar-free cookies. Catalina Crunch. Just throwing it out there. They make some great fake Oreo cookies to die for. I swear they. Oh, and Catalina Crunch also makes great snack mixes. Cereals are okay, but if you like your savory to go with your wine or your beer, Catalina Crunch, low carb. Probably not low sodium though. So, RPG Grandma, good to see you. Not on a Sunday. Go figure. God bless you. Yeah, and that's probably why we slipped in a little game of health here. Sorry, I don't know the reference, Dave. Yes, what stress, which of the causes of D&D can lead to heart attack. Oh my! All right, we'll get to that.
So we're gonna move to Plan B or to point B here. Should we do the Satine?
Yeah, let's do the Satine. So hold on a second.
Right.
I got that one ready. One ready to go.
So somebody popped this up there, and it's not really shocking because look, people got to make money, and this person's been in the wilderness for a while. Oh, by the way, so yes, the joke is her last name spelled wrong, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Now you notice there's no elf ears here. This is a serious quotation mark thing for her and Jameson to break out of. They're going to have to move away from D&D for a while, maybe forever. I don't know. I mean, look, if the Wandering Wizard can come back, maybe Satine and Jameson can go back someday. But no, that she is moving away to doing. Now they're doing some kind of a empowerment thing. So I looked at this. So there's so much to go on here. So first of all, it says it's going to be in Bastrop, Texas on October 11th, which if you know anything about Texas, Bastrop's a tiny little town east of Austin. It's tiny. Nobody's doing any kind of conference there or whatever. It didn't make any sense. So I started.
How tiny is it, Mike?
It's pretty small. It's a very famous town. By the way, used to be capital of Texas before Austin. It was the capital. And then they moved it farther west and it became Austin. So in another reality, Bastrop's a huge giant city, and you're going, what's Austin? Oh, that's a tiny little town over here. Oh, Bastrop's the capital. So anyway, very small town. I've stayed there before. They had a national park there. Most of the town and everything around it burned down about 7 or 8 years ago. They had a gigantic forest fire there, burned the whole town to the ground. Really horrible. Well, I went there before that. It's really, really nice. It was a nice little town. So they're not having any kind of conference there because I look, there's no address here. It just says, here's the date, call for details at the bottom, or call for whatever. And so I started doing a little research. This dude at the bottom left, what's his name? Adam something. He's a motivational speaker that does men empowerment things. And so this is basically a glorified Zoom. This is a big Zoom thing. This is something you had to pay. And you paid the money, and all these people came on, they all talked about empowerment. And I'm sure Satine came on and talked about how empowered she was. She probably mentioned her porn days, and I used to do porn. It was awful. And look what I've done with myself. I worked at marketing. I worked at WotC, and I became head of whatever she was head of, creative something.
She was like a community manager or something like that.
And so she's probably talking about her success story. I'm sure all these guys here have success stories of one style or another. Those she probably has those too. And so it's kind of funny and sad. So this is the rebranding here. She's not going to be, so to speak, sucking off the tit of the D&D world anymore. She's going to move on to the wider world of motivational speaking.
Oh, I thought she was going to move on to
no, sucking out. No, she's moving on to motivational speaking. I have a feeling. I wish I'd known about this earlier, although I'm not going to pay whatever price. It's probably $500 to watch this stupid thing.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. So yes. So that is what this is all about. So people were popping her face up, and they thought, oh, this is some kind of weird convention and this and that. And of course, she was the butt of many, many, many jokes. But yes, it's just some kind of a online, pay money and listen to all these motivational speakers. Some people get off on that kind of stuff. It never does anything for me. But yes, this is where she has after her. And the thing is, see, here's what's so funny about her and Jameson in the wilderness. Most of the people get put in the wilderness for other things, like they steal money or they screw up a Kickstarter, or they abuse some. I mean, they do something. She didn't really screw anything up. The problem is she treated her employees very badly, and treated not just their employees, but anybody that did work for her had to either fight to get paid, didn't get paid, or was coerced into saying, "Okay, yeah, I'm not. You don't have to pay for that." And it was just two people using their power in the industry, because look, there was a short period of time, Eric, when they were big news in the industry, right?
Oh my God, they were huge.
Yeah.
And I was always going, yeah, I've heard of Satine. Satine would be at Gary Con. She'd have her entourage around her.
She went to Gary Con. She went to Gamehole Con. She did a lot of the bigger cons. She went to Gen Con, and she was special guest a lot of con, and a lot of it was. I mean, look, she would run games. Very pleasant person to talk to. I talked to her twice. No problem with her. Because nice person.
When I saw her at Gen Con, she was always surrounded by this, like, the 10-foot protection from normal people, because the entourage was like 15. Like,
oh yeah, there was all the butt kissers following him. And so, and from what people have said, a lot of this is more Jameson than her, in terms of, so Jameson got accused of abuse, not physical, but mental and psychological. He would break you down if you worked for him and tell you were worthless, and then not pay you, and then, make you do things, for free. I mean, people were doing stuff.
There were improprieties, because I believe he was also a spiritual leader, and he would try to use his spiritual influence for what's the word I'm trying to look for? Personal interactive.
Sure. Yes, he got sexual favors from people, because people came forward and said, he coerced me into having sex with him, saying it was the blah, blah, whatever. We did a show earlier this year with Skeeter, and Crystal Mazur popped on the comments.
Oh my God.
And they basically, Skeeter was ripping on Satine, because Satine had a really fake-o apology a few months ago. I'm sorry about everybody. Please let me back in the world of.
I'm so sorry I'm sorry that you don't like me for me being. I didn't do anything wrong. It's your perception that's wrong. But I'm sorry that your perception of me
is a weird thing, because when this broke last year, it was kind of like the Bill Cosby thing. It was real small at first. Then all of a sudden, all these people in the industry started coming and said, yeah, they never paid me either. They didn't pay me. They didn't pay me. They didn't pay me. And it just got to be this wave, because people got more secure the more people that said it. So they felt like, okay, I can talk about this now, because they were so big in the industry at one time that people were scared of saying anything bad about them. Right. Because they could literally crush your career. That's how big they were in the industry at one point. Yeah. That they could crush you.
You could be out because they abused you financially as a business. But if you complained about it, they could shut you. Because listen, we like Luke. Luke essentially shut down part of GaryCon to have their fake wedding.
This is just last year too, and this was a fake wedding because they were already married. And this was a big deal, and they shut down the whole bar room area. There was a lot of people that were really pissed off about this, because it was Saturday night, the night when you're going to let loose, right? That's why we have the midnight auction in North Texas Saturday night, because you're going to want to drink and have fun and say goodbye to everybody. They shut the whole place down so they could do their little pretend wedding and, kissy face. And, it's so cute. Oh, look at him. She's got elf ears. Oh, he's got tattoos. Oh, and then that year, and then July of that year, they went to Origins, and everything fell apart, because that's when somebody was it Crystal or a friend of Crystal's came up. I know Crystal was part of it. I think she was a big part of it. I think it was Crystal. Crystal had done some work for them and never gotten paid. She written because they had their Kickstarter. Remember, they had their Kickstarter, and they had all these authors on their Kickstarter. Then it started turning out that none of the authors and artists had ever been paid. And I think Crystal was the first one. We need to have Crystal on the show sometime to talk about this, because Crystal, I think she was the first one that said, look, they never paid me. And then everybody was like, yeah, they never paid me. And then so I said, yeah, they didn't pay me for this deal we did here. And it became a tidal wave. It was so bad that apparently during the con, Jameson never came out of the hotel room. She barely came out. Then she went and she had like stomach issues for the rest of the con. And she was a special guest who was supposed to be putting on presentations and running games. I believe she may have did them, but Jameson was nowhere to be found, because most of these people focused on what Jameson did, not her. But she was cognizant of all this happening and said she's still a part of it because she knew this was happening. And boy, yeah. I haven't heard this. I'll have to look. Joe left his millionaire wife. Well, I know why that happened. If you want to talk about it, I know exactly why that happened.
Yeah. By the way. I think a lot of us do. We paid attention to it.
Look. Gary is much better friends with Joe than I am. Gary talked to Joe quite a bit on the phone. I don't think anything bad about Joe. This is a case of two people who got married for the wrong reasons. Sophia and Joe loved each other. Joe wanted children. Sophia did not want children. It's that simple. And this is one of those things where when you get married, make sure you're on board with what your spouse wants, and understand that if your spouse smokes, they're probably not going to stop smoking. If your spouse cheats, they're not going to stop cheating. And if your spouse wants to have a kid or doesn't want to have a kid, they're probably not going to change their mind. And for those that know, Joe's a little younger than Sophia. She just turned 50. Man, it's tough to start a family when the females. It's my daughter had a tough time having a kid at 40. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
And so they were just going in different directions. There was there's never been any allegations one or the other cheated on each other, stole from each other, abused each other. It all came down to the fact that Joe wanted kids and she didn't. So
right, Sophia already had kids from a prior relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I saw this happen in my own family. I had a cousin who got married and told his wife, "Yes, kids sound great. 5 years later, no kids." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I don't want kids." She's like, "But you told me you wanted kids." Well, yeah, you wouldn't have married me otherwise. So obviously that marriage didn't matter.
I wish Joe and Sophia good luck on that. We still hope to have Joe at the convention, guest in North Texas one of these days. But that was a case. That was one of those cases where it sucks, but two people, they probably still love each other, but there's just different reasons. So I'm not surprised he went for a younger woman, because he wants to have a family, he wants to have kids. And look, he can drag in a teenager. Have you seen him? He can. I mean, he can just, Eric and I can't drag in a 19-year-old.
No.
But not that we would want one. Dear God.
I don't have the energy. You want a real heart attack? I'd have a real heart attack. Trust me. I mean, I almost had a heart attack dating a 19-year-old when I was 32. And I was like, I can't do this. I don't know where these kids have this energy. By the way, Don says it was.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they brought up the fact that the tattoo stuff, too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the tattoo guy, I think, what got that ball rolling.
That was the big thing that got the ball rolling, was the tattoo people that said he didn't pay for the. Yeah. Anyway, so this is what they're doing. They're doing motivation. So if you feel like being motivated by an ex-porn star and an ex-tattoo artist who didn't pay their employees, go for this. and check out the facts at the bottom. And by the way, check out this guy's page to the lower left. It's an unintentional hoot. He's one of those men empowerment guys. It's like, hey, I'll teach you how to pick up a woman. There's 5 things a man need to do. If they do these 5 things, anyone will be yours. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, ugly, fat, whatever. But you have to pay for my thing to know what the 5 things are, or the 15 things that will empower you. So he's one of those guys that tells you there's just things that are going to change your life. And I suspect the others are also. I didn't look up everybody, but I looked up his page. It's extensively. It's all about. That's what it's all about. It's all about male empowerment and becoming powerful and getting all the women you want. Blah blah blah. So yeah, they're not exactly covering themselves in glory here. They're just they're trying to claw their way back. They were way up here at one point, right, Eric?
Oh,
they went all the way down here. And now they're just like inching themselves back up.
Here's the thing. All right. Jameson, he was like the add-on. He was the +1.
Yeah.
And it's the +1 that fucked everything up. That's the sad thing about this. Satine.
Yeah, she was doing fine. Yeah, she was doing fine. She had her WotC gig. She had. I mean, people loved to have her. She went to cons all the time. She was a special guest. She did this, that. He was the one who had the delusions of grandeur because nobody knew who he was before this, right? Nobody knew who James was.
Knew.
Yeah.
They
knew Satine wasn't.
He looks like it looks like he has elf ears on. David, it is Adam Lyons, Lyons.
Yeah, look at his Facebook page. You'll see what he's all about. And once you see what he's all about, you know that this isn't a serious thing. Plus, they spelled her name wrong. No serious company is going to spell one of your headliners' names wrong. That's a joke. No. This is some guy running it. Look, some people make a lot of money running. Look at Jenny D. Jenny D makes a lot of money running a streaming Empire from her house. This is one of those guys that has a streaming Empire from his house. He does videos. These are the people he invites on. They bring their own audience, and they have to listen to everybody. So it's like Satine brings her fans, James brings her fans, Adam brings his fans. They all bring their fans, and then they pay.
You can't spell her fucking name right. How the fuck?
God.
Justin Donald, Jameson Stone, and Alaric Eck.
Look, yeah, they're like I said, they're all also the same.
He looks like a dweeb. Jeez.
Come on, we all look like dweebs here.
Well, true.
So yeah. Anyway, this is what. So we'll keep tabs on her. But by the way, just to throw this in there, that for those who if you want to know, I don't know if you want to know, but we once long ago talked about a man known as the Wandering Wizard, Mike Nistel, who had 3 Kickstarters going at the same time.
Actually,
took all the money.
4. Well, here let's explain. Here,
all the money.
Well, here, this is what he did. All right, Mike had illusions of grandeur.
Yes.
So he felt that when you have money and you're a publisher, because that's what he was going to be. He's going to be a publisher. Before you even write the product, you need an office.
This is the good old day. This is the Wild West of Kickstarter when all you had to do was have a good idea. Nothing finished. No art done, nothing. You just said, I'm going to make an RPG about dwarves, which is basically what he did. And then he had like 5 other ideas, and he all had, I'm going to do this and this and this.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing then. So he gets this office, and if you have an office, you need a secretary. So he hires a secretary because you need this, right? You haven't even produced anything, but you need this. And he's not the only one that did this. Frost, Quantum, the game Quantum did the same fucking bullshit. But so then he says, "Well, you know what? I'm doing this game, the Dwarven RPG. I'll do a DwarfCon."
Oh yeah. So in Austin, because he's based in Texas, my territory, he went to all these people and said, "Hey, I'm going to do something called DwarfCon," because he had this dwarf tattoo. Because he had this dwarf Kickstarter. If he got a certain amount of money, he's going to get a dwarf tattoo. By the way, Mr. Gunn, Jenny D, don't hate the player, hate the game, man. I mean, live or hate her, she is working it. She's working it and making money doing it, and running games and castles in England. And like I said, I don't hate the player, man. Hate the game. The game she's playing the game. So, but no, so he's going to do DwarfCon. He goes to all these stores and people that are going to have do DwarfCon. Takes all this money for DwarfCon, and then there's no DwarfCon because right about when he thought he needed office and secretary and cons, whatever, he ran out of money. He spent all the money from the Kickstarter, like every cent of it was all gone. And then it was like
bad.
Jenny D's a phony, man. You're talking about my girl Jenny there. Look, she can, like I said, don't hate the player, man. Hate the game. She's doing what she's doing is making a lot of gamers happy. It's not my style and it's not my deal, but she's not hurting anybody. I'll just say that she's not doing it. She's not doing a Satine or a Jameson.
She's not ripping people off unless you claim that your time watching her videos.
Right. Yeah. And if she's a phony, she's a rich phony. So I only wish I was as phony as she was because she's raking in the cash and getting to go to Europe and did all this fun stuff. So you get me off sides of Jenny. You get me off sides.
Don't get Michael excited, man.
Don't get me all. I can't afford
to see an excited Mike.
No.
But here's some other things that. So he sold off, I believe, one of the properties to a third-party publisher who at least was going to make the backers whole in PDF.
But that was like the largest dungeon or weirdest dungeon or something.
Yeah,
it was some mega dungeon. It was terrible. It came out. It was bad.
Yeah. So then the dwarf game, which I can picture the graphics, but not the name of it. But in any case, the dwarf game, he passed on to James Shields, who volunteered to write the game because Neistel apparently can't write games. Doesn't understand how to write games.
He's like a lot of the people in the industry. He has great ideas. Look, I have great ideas. But I'm not stupid enough to ask $40,000 for my great idea that I can't write. And Mike unfortunately did that. And so he didn't pay this. So after a period of saying, oh, maybe this will come out, he finally just came clean and said, I'm a terrible businessman. I blew all the money. I'm getting out of gaming forever. I'm sorry. I'm gone. And Eric and I respected that kind of.
And they also added the following comment: anybody who ever invests in me in the future is pretty much an idiot.
Yes, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. I mean, he basically said nobody in the future should ever invest money in me. So
I'm going to wander the earth as a wandering wizard. This is where we get the wandering wizard, and I'm just going to do whatever.
He called himself the Wandering Wizard for a little bit. And it stuck, but then he was also the couch surfing wizard because people were learning that he would stay at their house and then not leave because he was doing stand-up. He was doing stand-up in Austin.
He did stand-up comedy. Apparently pretty somewhat successful because he did it. No, he wasn't. Oh dear, I never saw it. Oh dear.
I never saw it either. But if you're couch surfing your friends, you're not a very successful.
I don't think it pays a lot. I don't think that kind of stuff pays a ton. So, but anyway, so he popped up again. His name is now Malix Nistel, Malix, same dude, but now he's a guest at GaryCon next year. How did he pull that? He's a guest at GaryCon. He's back. He's back. He's back in the game.
So free hotel room, spending money, and I don't know, man.
I didn't steal $50,000, and I'm not a guest. Well, I'm a guest at LongCon, I guess, sort of. So he's working in the industry again. He's putting out stuff. Now, I would say, look, as long as you never back I would never back anything he ever did. If you back anything he did, as he said himself, you're an idiot. If you ever pay for anything he does, you're an idiot. But I guess if he keeps his own little niche over here and actually produces stuff that people pay for, he's okay. Just don't come begging for money ever again.
I guess. I mean, I don't know, man. That's one of those weird ones.
I mean, he owes a lot of people a lot. I mean, there's people that are out, a couple $100. I mean, he which doesn't seem like a lot, but there was a lot of people that invested in his Kickstarters that got nothing for it. So,
I mean, I invested in the dwarf one because I happen to like dwarves, and it sounded interesting.
So Bob, he says he's going to get out of it by saying he sold off all his properties, which he did. He ended up selling all the property to third parties. So as far as he's concerned, it got taken care of.
He never sold off, though. Here. And here's the thing. So we have a volunteer working on this, right? Who was told he'd have total carte blanche. You got it. It's yours. And then Mike started micromanaging James Shields. And if you've I haven't spoken with James in ages, but James is one of the nicest people in the gaming community.
No, James Bond, not James Shields.
No, Shields. James Shields.
Oh, Shields. Oh, we just had James. We had James on the show not too long ago for the Mace thing. or Mace 2.
No. You think the artist.
Oh, this is the other James. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I got
yes. Yeah. There's another James Shields.
Oh, this is the other James Shields. Okay, because that's why, J.E. Shields, James Shields. Okay, I got them mixed up. You're right.
And James, well, every James I know in this community seems to be one of the nicest people. But he really was doing this out of an obligation to the community to make the community members whole. And he finally got to the point where he said, you know what? Fuck you. You finish it. I'm done. And then, of course, the excuse was, well, Shields abandoned the project. No, you drove him from the project.
Yeah.
So he's doing it for free anyway. So you can't drive somebody away who is volunteering. Okay, come on.
He's sort of back. We'll keep an eye on him. I'm hoping I'm really, like I said, I love redemption stories. If he wants to come back and put out gaming stuff and be awesome, that's great. If he sits there and tries to shill for another Kickstarter, we're gonna have to talk to him or talk about him, because that's I just don't think you should get away with that. If you owe that much money, you should say, look, I'm out of the Kickstarter business for
I'm out of the gaming business. If you're that much of a dare I say it, loser, because you lost all that money and you couldn't finish a thing. If you're that big of a loser, an L, I'm going to borrow your letter for a second.
Yeah.
If you're this big of a loser, just go away. Okay. If you are someone who thinks that you're going to be the next Ken Whitman, please don't. Please don't. Even Ken thinks he's going to be the next Ken Whitman. So
he's kind of back a little bit too, isn't he? He's trying to get back too.
He's trying, because, and listen, Ken has found ways to, I'll be nice about it, make money off of many different segments of the geek community, right? I mean, he's found ways to get it from RPGs, collectible card games, comic books, collectibles, The Walking Dead. I mean, making his own certificates of authenticity. I mean, come on.
Well, just recently, the revelations. I mean, this has just happened, that the Walking Dead thing came out about how he got kicked. He basically got kicked to the curb because he took his 2-second cameo as a way to basically pick up chicks. And did you read that whole thing where he was talking about the? You didn't see this? Yes, you did. You saw this. You didn't see the person. So there was a person that posted something about Kim Whitman was coming back, and he said, "Well, he's somebody is going to sue him because apparently his big deal was he's a big dude, so he has a presence, about stage presence. He was in like a MacGyver episode as a bad guy, didn't speak, non-speaking parts.
He gets tased and laid out. He gets
big guy. Yeah, he gets beat up by people. So he was in The Walking Dead, which at the point, this is like season 6 or so. It's a real popular show. He's holding an axe, and his name's like, they don't even have a name, but afterwards on the credits it says Axeman Ken Whitman or something. So this is how Ken Whitman is. So he decides to turn that into I'm going to do a whole thing of this. So he makes a short film. Remember this? Do you remember the short film he made with he and the guy for Titan Game? What was the guy's name that passed away? I can't remember his name. And he just grunted and carried an axe and looked at pictures of his wife. And he had this whole backstory about this 2-minute long cameo in a Walking Dead episode. So somebody recently came up and said, "Oh yeah, that Ken Whitman. He was kicked off the set because he became a problem. He became a problem because he thought his part should be bigger, Axeman. And he kept basically bothering people, going, "Hey, I got this axe, a big guy. I need to be in more shots." Stuff. The guy said, to the point where nobody wanted to be around him because you didn't want to be associated with him because you're afraid you're going to lose your job as an extra if you're around him. So he just everybody just backed away from him because nobody wanted to be seen as being his Ken Whitman's friend. Then apparently, while he's still doing background shots of Walking Dead, he approaches attractive females who are also extras and say, "Hey, I can get you into the industry." Because remember he ran that photography business for a while, like that really short-lived photography business.
He did a photography business. He worked for an Atlanta-based black production company. I guess he was the only white individual on the company, but he was the one with the connections. Then he was running I don't know if he still is, a nonprofit for teenagers, but it seemed to be in the film industry, but it seemed to be overlapping with his for-profit, where he was using the nonprofit kids as extras and as gaffers and as
He was just he. I mean, this doesn't even go into the fact that he would meet these women, romance them, spend money that he got on Kickstarters on them. Then he would drain them. Remember that one, his ex-fiance that he drained dry that came on later on and said she had no money at all and he'd stolen everything out of her bank account and all her money and all that stuff?
I spoke with her.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
This was a woman that he, again, was promising the world to and getting her into the films.
He took her on like a cruise. He took her on a cruise and did all this stuff with her and got her all buttered up.
But, well, now that's not his... There was the...
Oh, that's a different woman?
Yeah. The cruise goes back earlier. That was the girlfriend / wife that owned the hotel that she inherited, and then he was trying to angle that. And then the cruise was when, like, you know, he was showing off his new car, but then it was just during the whole Kickstarter thing. And then it was revealed that his new car was a test drive. Test drive. No, this was a woman in the Atlanta area that he was renting a room from, but promising that he could get her into the film industry. Atlanta is possibly the number 2.
Huge. Because Walking Dead was filmed there. That was huge for a while. Huge for a while, yes.
So
anyway, he was
staying for free, eating for free. She was doing his laundry, pressing his clothes, all these promises, and then he left owing her like a couple of $1,000.
Jeez.
And
worst boyfriend ever. So apparently he was promising women on the set that he could get them into the film industry, and it was kind of like really a sleazy take on it. And eventually that's why Axeman never appeared in any other episodes except the last 2 episodes, I think season 6, because for whatever 5 seconds, because they pretty much at this point, I understand he's pretty much blacklisted in the film industry because he has taken way too many liberties with trying to telling people he knows all these people. And that kind of feeds into when he was selling fake film memorabilia. Remember that, where, here was the axe I used and the boots I wore. And he had these fake certificates of authenticity.
Well, it wasn't his boots. It was the boots of some female main character. And he has the certificate made, but upon investigation, the certificating, it's a company that it wasn't PCG, I don't think. It was a company that I knew from when I was collecting gold coins. I recognized it, and I was like, they did this? And then you're looking at it, and there's no hologram. Anything they did had a hologram. There was no hologram.
Yeah, very small.
Then they were reached out to, and they were like, that's not us. We never.
All right, we'll move on from dumbass Kim Women. I'm gonna ask a few questions here because if Tammy wants us to move on, we'll move on. Tammy, we respect you that much. Tammy doesn't want to talk about this anymore. Bad Mike got to ask, how is the auction going to get you the GameCon? It's going very well. I'm selling some stuff on my Nortex RPG Con auctions page because after I paid bills this month, I need some money I'm going to be at Game Hole Con next week, Wednesday through Sunday. If you're going to be there, come by the Frog God booth, say hi, and hang out after. I'm going to be hanging out at the Sheraton. I'm staying at the Sheraton this time. Thank goodness, not the beat up old hotel we usually stay at. We're staying at a nice hotel. So, but yeah, I had some unexpected, electricity bills crazy this summer. Water bills crazy. I'm gonna be on a shoestring budget heading to Madison, so I got an auction going. But thanks for asking, Don. Yeah, it's going pretty good. I think I'll do. I put some really nice stuff up there. I think I'll do all right. I put a set of Holmes dice up. Look at these babies, still in the bag, original. They're so sharp, Eric. You cut your finger on them. I'm not kidding. That die 4, it's never been used. You could cut your finger on those. Those are Holmes dice, baby.
I got a set in at ShireCon when I got a beat up
here's what's crazy about it, Eric. Those go for as much as the box set. You'll make more money if you pull those out of the box set, sell those separately, and then sell them. And here's the box set right here. So here's but actually this isn't a Holmes. This is an expert. But yeah, if you pull them out of the box set, you can sell the box set cheap, more expensive for both of those. So yeah, that's going. So that's up to about 150 or so. Those are going pretty good. So it's okay. So I think I'm going to be okay. I think I'll be able to whore my way up there by selling my. I'll be doing some live streams on Facebook as I go up there. I'll be stopping at some. I might as well just pimp myself right now. I'll be stopping at some pork loin places. I'll be doing some tests. Some pork loin tastings on the way up there. I'll be live streaming that. I'll be live streaming some other stuff, and then next Wednesday night I'll be doing our Talking Crit from Game Hall Con. I will try to get some famous people. In years past, when I've done this, Eric, I've managed to grab a guy or two that walk by. And I think last year I did it from the hotel room, but the year before that I actually did it from the floor of the convention center, which is kind of cool because people were just walking by and stuff. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's my first big trip since last year, Game Hall Con.
So what's the situation with Darlene Artist fundraiser in our house?
So I just heard today or yesterday from Bill Meinhardt. Hold on, vamp for 1 second, Eric. Let me find the name here. We were able to send her. We did an auction for her, sent her a couple $1,000s. A gamer named Bo Simpson is helping Darlene get her house painted. The city is still upset about the appearance of the house because it's kind of fallen down. She's been trying to get it fixed. He's going to drive there, and he's wanting to let the game community know about it to help defray some of the costs. I'm going to get in touch with Bo and see if I can help him out. We've been helping out Darlene too. The auctions we had helped her out. Like I said, I was able to send her pretty good, nice little check there. And I've still got some stuff of hers I need to auction. That'll probably happen after Game Hall. There's going to be, by the way, a couple of our items are going to be in the Game Hall auction. I have her Strategy Club Award for Jasmine Game of the Year, the actual award with her signature on the back. That's going to be one item up there. And then I think a couple other items. So that's all going to be going to her. So we're still trying to raise money for her. Unfortunately, she needs about $15,000. It's a good chunk of change. So we're just trying to do what we can, raise money. I've taken some donations in. Like I said, we'll have another big auction for her on the North Texas RPG auction page. But I'm hoping this guy, Bo, I don't know very much about him, Bo, can get some things going for her. What she really needs is the problem is she doesn't have a lot of relatives she has no relatives in the area. She has one cousin that kind of passes through every once in a while. I'm sorry, not a cousin, a niece. But she's kind of a loner there, and she has a house that her husband took care of. Her husband passed away 8 years ago. And after he's passed away, she just kind of let things go. And the city wrote her some notes about it, and she's trying to get stuff fixed. She has leaks in the roof. It is a lot of damage done over a lot of time. And she's just trying to get it done a little bit. I mean, she kind of woke up and said, oh, God, I got to do something about this.
Right.
And so, yeah, we're helping her out as much as we can by doing auctions, donations, however you can. But the problem is nobody lives there. So it's really hard for her to do these things, take care of this stuff. Jim Kitchen and I talked to her this year and told her there's some things like talk to the city. You need to go to the city and try to work out a deal with them. Cities don't like to condemn houses. They want to work with you to get the house fixed. And so we said, you need to work with the city. So I'm hoping this is her working with the city. But from what I understand, Bo is actually going to go there, and he either is moving there or is going to live there or whatever. And so maybe he'll be able to get the help. He'll be there to give her the help she needs, because that's the main issue now, is just having somebody on site that can help take care of her and, help her get stuff done, because, she's an older lady. She can't do a lot of this stuff. She can't paint her house. She can't, fix her roof. She's got to have people do that. So anyway, I'm going to get in touch with Bo, and get his contact info and see if we can work something out, maybe another auction. She does still have a lot of box games at her house, and I'm going to try to see if there's some way I can get those here so I can auction those off. And nothing's very rare. It was like Squad Leader, Starship Troopers, stuff like that. But stuff that'd be cool if you got a little letter of I've got a whole bunch of signed up. Yeah, I've got a bunch of certificate of authenticities here signed by Darlene. So I could sell that kind of stuff. A Starship Trooper game for Avalon Hill sells okay, but if you have, hey, this used to belong to Darlene and she was played by her, then the people get a little more interested. So I'm hoping we can get some hopefully make some money for it. When that happens, I will announce it here, and I will announce it on the North Texas page, and we'll go from there. So
sounds good. Mr. Gunn, anything good for Prime Days? The only thing I ordered was a 50,000 amp charger for my phone, and it's solar powered. I was like, I'll leave it in my trunk if I ever get stranded in the middle of nowhere. At least I know if my car is dead, I can still charge up my phone.
Oh wait, it is Prime Day. Okay, well I'm going to check it out right now while we're talking. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll wait 30 minutes till the show's over. I'm already seeing. Oh, there's some good deals already. Oh boy. Oh, I'm going to get lost. Okay, I'm not going to. I'm not going to look at this right now. So let's spend the last part. Let's spend the last part of our show talking about the big item of controversy the past week. Somebody at WotC that gets really mad when we put other people on This Week in Stupid, and they get really upset, and so they run to their boss and say, "Look, Eric and Mike are not talking about us this week. They said we didn't do anything stupid. Are you okay with this?" And their boss says, "No, do something really stupid because we have to be on Talking Grit this week." And so this is what they came up with last week, and we touched on it a little bit, but it really blew up this week.
Now, and by the way, there were people online going, "Oh, yeah, I used to like Tenkar stuff, but then I saw this video, and it's me because listen, here's the thing, what they do with one property, right, for a moral reason, there's a good chance they're going to do with another property.
Sure.
Doesn't mean it will happen. But again, they're doing it not because, it makes the game run better. They're doing it because moral reasons.
This decision was made by not a druid, by not a shaman, by not a Wiccan, by no input from any of those people I just named. It was made by a white guy, an older white guy in a suit in an office who wanted a virtue signal. That's all there is about this. This has nothing to do with actual Wiccans, actual shamans, actual druids, because if you go to the Reddit thread, there are plenty of druids, shamans, and Wiccans and pagans that post on there, and 99.9% of them say they are absolutely okay with the representation as it is now. And they don't understand this at all because none of them asked for to be taken off of cards or the magic cards. They don't get this at all. They don't understand. So until WotC presents to me an actual survey or study that shows that 58% of all druids and shamans we talked to, and we talked to over 500 of them, thought this was disagreeable, I'm going to call bullshit on this, Eric. What do you think? I am going to call bullshit on
wait, bullshit on wizards? No, never. By the way, there are people that identify as wizards, right? So that maybe
and they posted too. There was a lot of warlocks that posted on that Reddit thread too, and they're upset because they think that now they're going to take mage or warlock or wizard out of the game, and they say we don't want that out of the game either because, Eric, this is the slippery soap argument. Where do you stop? Okay. We're going to take druids and shamans out. And look, and there's nothing funnier.
Look, witches are already gone from Magic the Gathering.
If you checked out the threads that result of this, you may have noticed a very, very small percentage, maybe 5% of people were there simping for WotC. This is how you tell who is an authentic gamer and who is a simp for WotC. Anybody defending this is a simp for WotC, and I found a couple of them. They were like, "Well, you could just call druids something different and shamans something different. You could call them peacemakers, or you use an old Celtic word, Troyaskos or something." And my answer to that is why. Because if nobody that's an actual shaman is upset about you using the word shaman, why on earth are you worried about a shaman unless this is something in your own mind you've created? And this is a problem. This has been a problem with people who are not part of a minority or not part of a group like druids or shamans making decisions for druids and shamans instead of an actual druid or shaman saying, hey, I'm part of the National Druid Council. We boast 1,500 members in the United States. We worship trees and plants and animals. And we took a vote at our last druid meeting, and over 60% of us are not happy with our portrayal in Magic the Gathering cards. Could you do something about it? Folks, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see anything close to that. That did not happen. Here's you want to know how this happened? I'm going to tell you how this happened, Eric. I wasn't there, but I'll tell you what happened. 5 white guys who don't know the difference between a Wiccan and a Satanist, and there is a big difference. They no clue, don't even know what a druid or shaman is, have no clue what they are. They all got together and said, let's do something really politically correct for the fall season because Halloween's coming up, and we haven't been. Let's do something that's going to make us look good. That's going to make us people say, "Wow, they really care."
We haven't stepped on our private parts in a couple of weeks. We need to do something major.
Bob, have you stepped on your dick lately? No. Fred, did you step on your dick today when you stepped? No.
No,
Billy,
but I stepped on Mark's dick.
Now, Susan, I know Susan didn't step on her dick because she's not got a dick. So we got to step on her dick. We haven't stepped on her dick in a while. Let's do something ridiculous. So I'm going to disagree with Eric a little bit here. I don't think this is going to make it to the game. And the reason is because it is 2 different divisions. Magic card is a totally separate division from D&D. And the Magic people have always been over the top politically correct, like just ridiculous to the point where they're pretty much all their fans disagree with it. And they do it anyway. They don't care because they're making so much money. The money's still being dropped off in trucks. They don't care what their fans say. Their fans may say, we love druids and shamans. We're all druids and shamans. We want this kept in there. No, we're just going to take it out because we don't really care what you think.
What, did you read the actual question that was asked? I have it up on screen.
Yes.
In reference to the question about using witch as a creature type, if witch is excluded because of its significance as a real-world religious identifier, which, by the way, for doing that, shouldn't cleric be removed from the game too? But
that is what the slippery slope starts sliding. And so, yes, that's what I was going to say. If you want to start nitpicking, let's see. Okay, let's start naming what you got to get rid of, Eric. Paladins, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Well, clerics, first of all. Clerics, yes. Wizards, yes. Because there are wizards. First of all, there's KKK Grand Wizards, which is a really scary connotation. If you want to be careful, just don't put any wizards in there because, look, the Washington Wizards basketball team changed their name to the Washington Bullets changed their name to the Washington Wizards, and now they've already said that they don't like the Wizards anymore. So they're looking at another name of the Wizards. But I'm just saying is that so you got to get rid of clerics because that has to do with Christianity. You have to get rid of wizards. Paladins, of course, because paladins they're crusading holy warriors, right? Yeah. Definitely. Get rid of that. Well, you just start down a slope that why would you take away one and not the others? What it boils down to is that there's no reason not to take out, take out this and not take out wizard. Especially if there are actual wizards out there, which there are, who say that, hey, I don't like being used to that. What about vampire? Is vampire? I know people that think I don't know people. I have read stories about people that think they're vampires, that they believe they're real life vampires. They eat raw meat, they drink blood. They're maybe a little funny up there, but aren't you offending them by saying that vampires are evil blood sucking creatures of the night that are going to destroy you? Anything taken from the Native American mythos needs to go. Pretty much anything from any mythos. Like I'll give you an example, like the Rakshasa. The Rakshasas from an Indian creature mythology. Should you be looking at other cultures and say we shouldn't appropriate this from another culture? There's a lot of examples in that in Dungeons and Dragons of monsters that are appropriated from other cultures.
Well, zombies, right? Where do zombies come from? That's the West Indian black magic type of deal, right?
Yes, very much so. Yes.
So that's got to be removed from the game. El makes a point. I was thinking this one myself too. Barbarian is an uncivilized person.
Barbarian. There's a barbarian's a
good. Got to bring the barbarians out. Actually, you got to pick out the Cavaliers or the Knights because they were involved in atrocities.
Look, they took out Savage. You can't use Savage. You can't use. By the way, this went under people's radar. You can no longer use tribes or tribal. Those have bad, as far as they know, bad connotations. Savage does. You're right. Why doesn't Barbarian fit the same bill as Savage and tribal? It does. I mean, it absolutely does. It is a stereotype based on terrible, horrible provincial motives. So you have to take out Barbarian. I think that's very true. I just think at a certain point, they bring out the white savior. That's that problem too. At a certain point, you have to realize, you have to think about who are these people trying to save and who are they trying to fix and who are they trying to take care of here. Right. And really, there's no end game here. There's no end game because this could go on forever until there's nothing left in the game except for generic monster. I mean, you can't even have orcs anymore. Orcs have a terrible stink on them.
Well, my orcs are awful good, so they're okay. they're the root of all civilization.
I guess goblins can still be bad, right? Goblins aren't.
I don't think they've gotten to them yet, but they'll probably.
I think goblins are probably okay.
Probably Filipinos, or something.
Oh dear.
I'm just saying. Look, I mean, you got to draw a line, and at this point, there is no line. And listen, when Kyle was like, we got to get white men out of the hobby, right?
Ouch.
When you look at Wizards of the Coast leadership, it was almost universally white men. I think it was like 3 women and one black person. I think it was a woman. It was all white men. So this is signaling, and that's what this is signaling. But it's signaling to get ahead of the curve. We're going to do this before everybody else. We're going to be special because
why don't they all resign in mass and appoint minorities their positions? That would be a much better solution for this. I don't understand.
Fuck you, pay me. Fuck you, pay me is what it comes down to. They're not going to give up their paying jobs. Come on, man.
Well, what was it? Slate? Was it Slate or one of the online Wired or whatever that posted it? They're real proud, and so on Women's Day they posted a picture of their online management, which is all women, and they wanted to show that look, we're really into women. Eric, they were all white women.
Oh wow!
No Asians, no blacks, no Hispanics. That was very quickly brought to their attention as they touted their extremely diverse management group of all white women, of all Karens, and no Josephines, and oh god, so yeah, that they're like, oh, you're right. Oh, we didn't notice that. Oh darn. And so this is the same thing here. Look, until you want to put your money where your mouth is and start appointing actual real, not fake minorities to positions of power within these companies.
Right.
I don't care what you think. Did I fade out there?
No, you're still there.
Okay.
I can still hear you.
Look, and Eric and I did a bit on this about a year ago when we talked about how they have this weird thing about how they won't okay, we talked about how if they came out with a jungle African setting, we would buy the hell out of it because that is a cool setting that they haven't done. The reason they haven't done it is because they won't hire representative people who would do an African setting, aka African Americans or somebody or just Africans that would write that setting and put it out, because I would buy the hell out of an African setting. I love that setting. So, but the thing is, they won't do that. Because they're, like you said, that they all they have is white dudes who are protecting their white territory, and how they protect their white territory is by virtue signaling like this. They think that gives them a pass. Oh, well, I just looked at the management for Watsy. It's all white dudes. Yes, but you know what? They passed a rule that says you can't use druids or shamans. So free pass. They get a free pass now. No, they don't. What? They don't? No. They don't get a free pass at all. They get no passes. Put your money where your mouth is. Appoint minorities. Appoint Hispanics. Appoint Asian Americans. Appoint African Americans. Appoint trans. Appoint people that you are pretending you're trying to protect. Actually put those people in charge. Then we'll talk. Then we'll
but then you wouldn't have the people that are embedded in power and getting paid. They wouldn't. Here, the only way it's going to work, you have to make new positions. See, here's the thing. Nobody that has a position of authority is willingly going to go, hey, excuse me, Ms. Williams, Cynthia, listen, I think I'm a bit too pasty for this position.
Can I phase my job out? Can I phase my position out?
Can I go on the unemployment line and can you give this position to somebody with a bit darker complexion than me? None of them are going to say that because guess what? Nobody wants to be on unemployment.
This is all performance theater. It's all performance. It's all virtue signal. There's nothing that's anything honest about this. This is absolutely dishonest, all this whole thing, because it's not really solving any problems. Especially any problems that people care about. It's not doing anything to help anybody. It's just so they can go do this. Did you see what we did this year? We got rid of tribes. And we got rid of shamans, and we got rid of druids. I want a raise. I got rid of druids. Give me a raise. Did you appoint anybody of a color of less than the back of my wall to any positions? No. No, we didn't do that. I mean, come on.
What is
We're not doing that. We're just. And by the way, this is an issue because they have had minorities that work at WotC that have left under very upsetting conditions, and they said they were not happy with how they were treated at WotC. So this is just Eric and I making up shit, is it?
No, but the WotC apologists will be like, "That's not true. Leave WotC alone."
Look, yeah, right now is the best time when these kind of things happen, or when the OGL thing happened. There is no better way to spot the shills and the suck ups than to go online and find out who's defending WotC in these things. That is when you know this person is either getting a paycheck from WotC, number one. Number two, they hope to work for WotC one day and they don't want to screw things up. Or number three, they're just a dishonest human being, and they don't really believe this. They just feel like this is what they should take up for. I need to take up for for not having druids, for some reason. So this is when you go out, and the same thing happened to the OGL. Remember, Eric? There was people like going, "No, trust WotC with this. They have a plan here. The OGL shouldn't be free. Ryan Dancy was crazy to do that. He didn't know what he was doing. This belongs to WotC, and WotC should be able to yank it whenever they feel like it." There was those people out there, Eric. We saw them.
Oh, I know.
We saw them post, and then they just quietly kind of drifted off into the. Once the words got so loud and people started yelling and screaming, and the torches got lit, right, and the pitchforks, they all kind of drifted on.
Well, it was like, no, that leak isn't real. It's like, that leak isn't real. I got a very good copy of this leak, and I'm pretty sure it's real. That leak is WotC would never do that. Then it became, oh no, it's WotC's right to do that. And yes, they should.
They just started. Oh yeah. Who knows? Ryan Dancy, what was he thinking back 20-something years ago? No. This belongs to WotC. They should be able to, because you know what? They need to make money too. Like they aren't making, whatever. Like the OGL hasn't made them millions of dollars, and it has. The OGL has made them millions of dollars because by presenting all these different voices and coming out with all these different creations, it's made the game more popular than it ever was at any time in its history. And that is indisputable. It's more popular now than it was at any time in its history. And that is a result of the OGL.
Yep.
Because when TSR was the only one that had the property and published it themselves, they went broke not once, Well, they went broke once, but they almost went broke again. It's Lorraine Williams, oddly enough, saved them for that time. But they went broke again in the late 90s under Lorraine Williams because you can't, one company being imbued with all that creativity, it just doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's like Marvel and DC Comics right now. They're bereft of any imagination or soul or anything because all the best creators have left. They're all doing their own independent stuff. Ed Brubaker and Jim Lee and all those guys, they went off and formed their own companies. And they're putting out their own comics that are kick-ass. And Marvel and DC are left with the dregs because nobody wants to work for hire anymore. Well, the same thing happens with these companies. A lot of these guys work for WotC for a while. You know, it's cool to say, yeah, I worked for WotC. It's awesome. I got my name on a book. But they go off and do their own thing. Or they just never work for WotC. You know, some of the most creative people in the industry, Eric, are like Jeff Talanians, you know, and the Greg Gillespies and all those guys. Those are guys that they don't want to work for WotC because WotC will stifle your creativity. So they want to be on their own. And that's some of the most, like I said, some of the most creative people in our industry are doing solo stuff. You know, or not solo stuff, but they're doing stuff on their own. And, you know, Matt Finch, look at Matt Finch. Matt Finch has more talent in his little finger than half the departments in WotC, you know, and he's doing his own thing because, you know, I mean, why not? He's working on, you know, he's doing his own stuff. This just gets me so hot, Eric. It just drives me crazy.
It drives me crazy. It's crazy going nuts, I tell you. So, here's something that, folks, that's completely different before you wrap the show up.
Yeah, I'm worn out now. I let all the rant out. I was saving that rant out for a week. I let it all out. I'm okay now. I think I'm better. I feel better. Yeah.
I logged into drive-through. I refreshed my drive-through page for the first time in a while, and lo and behold, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Oh wait, it didn't show up. Yes, sons of. Here we go. So, it's a new interface for a drive-through. Now,
okay.
I don't know if I like it or not yet. Really couldn't tell you.
It's a little busy. It's kind of busy.
Yeah.
Very busy, but I don't
dislike it. 3.0 maybe, you know, when they were. Yeah. But look at the future titles. Castle Falkenstein and Far West.
What?
Let's take a look at Far West. Only $30 if you want to buy it. It's got 2 reviews, 5 ratings. So it has a 5-star.
Are you gonna buy this, Eric? Because I know you already paid for it once.
I got the PDF. So here, okay, the negative review is a long one.
No.
A 5-star. I'll say this in the Wild West, but in China it is barely scratched. It is what? To say this is the Wild West, but in China it too barely scratched the surface. Significant effort has gone into embracing the setting rather than just appropriating it. Still to set up a game, but after reading the rules and setting. What? Still to set up a game after reading the setting. I see a wide open space to play something original. I'm not even going to read the negative one, which was put up on yesterday. But wow.
Well, you know how it was 15 years. How long did this take? 10 years? I can't remember.
It took almost 12 years because I'm coming up on.
Well, you know, I mean, 12 years. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can change, and you know, and that's why most people after a small period of time pass are really not that interested in their Kickstarter anymore. I've had a lot of people say they bought a Kickstarter, they're all excited about it. Then when they get it and it's late, like 3 years later, they're like, I'm not into that anymore. Yeah. So maybe people just, like, I'm not into Asian flavored Western crap anymore. So I'm not into that wuxia stuff. I don't care anymore. So.
All right. Well, I don't mind a black background, honestly, because I default everything that I can to a night background because it's just easier on my eyes. So, but you should have an option of what your default is. I don't know if there is.
Sure.
I haven't checked. I haven't checked the Patreon interface. So God only knows. I do not know if that was Google Translate, but it could be. I don't know. I won't even read it, but I don't know. Could be. It's an Eastern Western, pretty much.
Well, you at least need to look through the PDF you got. I mean, you waited this long for it, damn it. So come on, you got to look at it now. You got to look at it and see what's going on.
Now, there's no timetable yet for the print version, so.
I don't think we're going to see that, but
Yeah. So,
do you think, just personal opinion? I mean, we're not saying one way or the other. Do you think that this is actually written by Gareth, or did he finally hire somebody to write it and then publish it and said, "Oh God, it's done now. Thank God."
I would guess that the amount of time this took to happen, Gareth in the end.
I mean, we don't know. We're just this is absolute speculation on our part.
Yeah, so I'm gonna guess Gareth actually wrote it. I know Eric Troutman, formerly of West End Games, was involved in, I guess, the editing and the layout, maybe. But so,
man, oh man, that's wild to finally see that, because this is one that we just pretty much said, okay, this is just not going to happen. So,
yeah. Well, Don, just so you know, this Gareth is an icon in the industry, or so it was announced on Unworld years ago.
Maybe not so much anymore.
Yeah. And somebody else who got into his own pile of poop. So.
Yeah, maybe at one point, but I don't think he's done too much lately. I don't think he's covered himself in in praise lately. So, I mean, honestly, talking about him now feels like kicking a dog when he's down. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, no, I mean, he used to have, before he got into this endless pit of his own doing, he put out some good work. I think what Twisted Tales and stuff.
Right.
He had a lot of pulp stuff that was out there, and that was probably generic, but was good enough. And then this.
Tommy's there. Mothership's pretty cool. I have the original rule book. It's a lot of work for the game master, but the Aliens RPG is pretty damn good. I know. I'll tell you, my buddy Alex Kamer loves it, and a bunch of people that I really trust about games, they absolutely love our Aliens RPG. So I would say they're different things too. Mothership's really not Aliens; it's different. But Mothership's got a lot. It's really interesting. It's kind of, if you're really into hex crawling or into like making up your own stuff based on charts, that's a lot of what Mothership is. And it's a good game. But I think it requires a lot of work on the behalf of the GM. Maybe I'm wrong. So, but Aliens is what it is, and apparently it does it really well. From everybody I know that's played it, they really love the Aliens RPG.
Yeah, I played it. We played it.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
What'd you think? Did you like it?
It was a lot of fun. It would be perfect at a convention.
Yes.
My God, it really, because we rolled with basically pre-gens, and it was like 2 or 3 sessions, I forget, but it went really well. But of course, it was, Rob Conley, Joe the Lawyer, and the rest of us. So why wouldn't it be good?
Oh yeah, those guys could turn anything good. Yeah, I'm sure that is true. So.
I have to announce this now, and after the show I got Rob. Rob Conley is launching a Kickstarter on Friday.
What?
We're gonna launch it live during the live stream. So
I'm anything Rob does, I'm all over it, because Rob is one of the undervalued, overlooked talents in this industry in terms of the OGL and the OSR. He doesn't publish enough. In any better world, Rob would have put out something every year new, but he just can't. I mean, it's just not his schedule, the way he writes. But Rob's stuff's always good. Always good. Anything he puts out is worth a purchase.
I believe it's going to be how to create a fantasy sandbox.
Now, he's been making posts on that for the past couple of years on his blog.
Yeah.
So if he took that all and collated it is going to be amazing. It will be a great workshop for yourself and for others. Oh man, that's going to be some good stuff. Definitely.
So that's this Friday, 8 p.m. I have to get Rob the link so he can share it on Facebook and stuff. So
I'm all over it because anything Rob does is just absolutely amazing, and I'm there 100%. His Black Marsh is extremely overlooked. Look, I'll tell you, if you want a great product that gets very little play, Points of Light. Points of Light is good. So good, especially the first one. The first one's better than the second one, I think. The first one presents 4 sandboxes. Any one of them could be a whole campaign, just hex crawling. That's all they are. It's a hex crawl. And you put your own dungeons there, and they all have a different theme to them. And Rob just does amazing maps. The maps look wonderful. It just, Points of Light. Good stuff.
Here's a little secret with Points of Light 1. Black Marsh builds off one of those maps. It will line up perfectly. So you can actually use Points of Light to go into Black Marsh. And Black Marsh is free, folks. Go to
it's really good. Yeah.
Click in, type in Black Marsh. It is free in PDF. It's one of the best. It is the best free product you're going to find, short of maybe Kevin Crawford's free works. But man, if you're looking for a sandbox setting, you can't do better.
Yeah, Points of Light's great because it presents 4 sandboxes. One's kind of weird. It's Outer Plains stuff, but one is called. They all have something land like Southland or something, but one is a empire and it fell, and now there's all barbarians there, which is kind of a cool setting. Another one is a land where there's it's a civil war going on. So there's one side fighting another side, and your adventures that kind of have to make your way between them. It's pretty cool. Like some of the stuff's controlled by one side, some's by the other side. Some parts are fighting over. Southland, that's the one that's just kind of like the really generic D&D nation where there's just this really empty area that hasn't been explored in centuries, and your guys, it's ruled by orcs and elves and dwarves, and you come in there. So it's just any one of those. They're just so good. They're just really good, and he just does a great job of. Look, if I wasn't running Greg Gillespie stuff, I'd be running Points of Light stuff. But I've been running Greg stuff for the past, however many years. We're still doing this, baby. Dwarrel Deep is gigantic. We're 5 sessions in, and we're still trying. One more session, and they'll have cleared the King's Gate, which is the first gate for the Underdark that they have to get into, and then So it's been a ton of stuff in there. It's really good stuff. That's really good stuff. And Dragon Slayer, his Kickstarter finished on that. The PDF should be out later this year. So that's the hard copies aren't going to be out till next year, but the PDF should be out this year. So that's going to be really cool.
Folks, one last thing before we bow out. We had a great time when we had Kelsey Dion on. Well,
awesome. Yeah.
If you're in the OSR, it's like Kelsey came out of nowhere, right? That's what it seemed like.
Right.
But if you were a 5e player, if you went to the DM's Guild, you would have seen that she didn't come out of nowhere, that she actually had been producing for a while. So up on Bundle of Holding, the Arcane Library had 8 of her 5e horror adventures, 5e SRD combat cards, Fires of Ishk, and the Shadow Dark quick start set. It's $9.95. She's an excellent author.
I just went there. I think I'm gonna for $10. You can't beat that, man.
No,
that's a good deal.
That'll probably be a blog post for tonight I'll do it when I wrap this up. But yeah,
she's very good. She's a very good designer. She doesn't do exactly what you expect, yet everything feels very familiar in terms of how the D&D adventure is. And I just can't say enough about her stuff. She's really good. And like I said, like Eric said, she kind of came out of nowhere. But when I started researching her, I was like, she's been posting blogs for 3 or 4 years. I just wasn't there looking at them and reading them. That's my fault because it's good stuff.
Really she had stuff up on DM's Guild for years. She was a very popular.
She just never told me about it. She never called me up personally
Mike,
and said, Mike, could you please read my Arcane Library stuff? Well, I would have read it, but she never did that. So, whatever.
So, all right. I wanted to make sure we got that in. Folks, next live stream for this show, Next Wednesday, Mike will be at Game Hall. I will not be at Game Hall. There was too much stuff going on with Rachel's health and all that stuff, so
I may be able to grab a special guest there. You never know. Maybe Zach or the Silver Boulet boys or Skeeter, who will be there. Maybe one of those guys just hanging out, and I can just grab their ass and say, "Hey, we're doing Talking Crit. We're doing Talking Crit, man. Come on over here.
I want to see you grab Skeeter's ass, literally. I just want
I'll wave my bottle of whiskey and like, hey, come on over. Who wants a free whiskey? Come on over. You gotta be on Talking Crit. You gotta be on Talking Crit. You gotta talk to Eric too and Talking Crit. So yeah.
So very lively chat. Thank you all.
Yes, thanks everybody. I still can't believe we finally broke 3,000 subscribers. I'm so excited. That's so great.
So here's the deal, folks. So we don't give away all the money in one chat. When we hit 3,250 and we hit 3,500, I'll give away another $100 on each of those. So let's see what we can get done before the end of the year. Get the word out.
Ooh.
Let's it's your money anyway because it's your drive-through money from the affiliate sales.
Just give it away. Yeah, I've been begging Eric for that money for whiskey purchases, and he says no. He says no, it's got to go to the fans. So,
got to go to the fans, man.
Sorry, I buy my own booze. Great.
All right, folks. As always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. Next live stream is Friday, 8 p.m. Rob Conley's going to launch his Kickstarter, and of course, Saturday at 8 p.m. Gamers Health, myself.
Yes.
Ray. You'll have a lot of updates because we'll have a lot of updates.
Pop in and say and tell RH congratulations and definitely just say hi to her because she's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, Rach, you've been looking to lose weight. Well, guess what? You lost a small mass.
She lost about a couple ounces there. Yeah, definitely.
A couple ounces and a lymph node. Woo-hoo! All right, folks.
Later.
See you later.
Game Hall next week.